Intentional, you high-class social climbers play your games. Meet the man.
Alright, well, hello everybody. That's unlikely that anyone is here yet, but make sure I'm streaming. I do appear to be streaming. Okay. Well, it's kind of a sad day today. A very sad day today, actually. So we're in Yakutat, Alaska. I flew up here last night in a new top secret plane I'm not going to reveal just yet. But, of course, now we're in a good old 2 Echo Foxtrot. So let's get ready to go. Let's remove the wheel chocks, pitot cover, the nest guard, tie down ropes. Alright. I already listened to the weather before you guys joined, so I'm just going to go ahead and start up. All flaps are open. Fuel pump. Some fuel flow. Clear prop. Alternators on, avionics are on, navs are on.
3,300 broken. Temperature 6 Celsius. Dew point 2 Celsius. Altimeter.
Then a real quick look at the volume balance. Desktop audio down there.
2 Niner.
Yeah, that seems like it's probably okay.
Papa Alpha Yankee Alpha automated weather observation. 1 Niner. 2
Let the engine warm up for a minute here.
Wind 113 at 8. Visibility 8. Sky condition fuel clouds at 2,600. Feeling 3,300. Broken. Temperature.
Hello, Thorskill Spartacus. How are you today?
Altimeter 2 Niner 2 Niner. Papa Alpha Yankee Alpha automated weather observation. 1 Niner 2 4 Zulu. Wind 113 at 8. Visibility 8. Sky condition fuel clouds at 2,600.
Good. I'm glad to hear it. Today is kind of a gloomy day. Not just the weather, but the general feeling of the world. So we're going to go for a gloomy flight down the coast. We're in Yakutat, Alaska right now. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and take off. Runway 11. Engine is appropriately warmed up. Go ahead and idle the throttle. Yakutat traffic, Cessna 2 Echo Foxtrot, taxiing runway 11, straight out departure. Are you a fellow, oh, thanks for the follow, by the way. Are you a fellow Flight Simmer Spartacus? Make sure trim's set for takeoff. I'm gonna go ahead and assume that this yeah, he's coming this way. So we stay out of each other's way. This is an uncontrolled airfield, so the pilots all have to talk to each other and coordinate.
Delta Delta Yankee Alpha traffic, Alaska 61 is clear of the runway.
Welcome to Yakutat, Alaska 61. I'm just about to get out of here. That is a 737 Combi, so it is, the front half is for cargo. The back half is for passengers. Still in his way, apparently, or her way. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and sit here and do my run up. Alright, and we're flying nowhere in particular today. No particular place to go. Off my aux pump for a minute. And run the throttle up to 1700 RPM. Alright, let's go ahead and do the mag check. Left mag. Right mag, back to both, check the prop, drop, put it back. Everything looks good. So pumps back on, landing lights on. Alright, so we're just gonna depart straight out. Sure, I already mentioned that. Go ahead and set my transponder to altitude. Right. Yakutat traffic, Cessna 2 Echo Foxtrot is taking off. Runway 11, straight out departure. Check to make sure I'm still streaming. Still, that's the wrong program. I appear to still be streaming, right? I guess. Yeah, I'm still streaming. I'm only streaming. Alright, I'll just double check. I've got trim set for takeoff, auxiliary fuel pump is on, gal flaps are open, mixture's full rich. Prop is full forward. I think we've lost Spartacus. I wish you well, my friend. Oh, no, he's still here. I still wish you well. Alright, so we are ready to go. Level us off at 1,500 feet. We don't need to climb really high. Not today, the clouds are kind of low. Alright, so there's 1,500 feet. Level us off and let the plane accelerate a little bit, then I'll set power for cruise. We're gonna do a slow cruise today, because I'm in that kind of mood. A slow mood. Let's go 2,300. Set the mixture for best power. Then pull the throttle back to... How you doing, Ace? Kind of a sad day, so I've decided to come fly away from it all. We just departed Yakutat, Alaska, which is up north of Gustavus. The weather's not great. This is technically still VFR, but so we're just flying low and slow. About 11.4 gallons per hour. Giving us just under 140 miles an hour indicated. So I'm just flying southeast down the coast. I flew up here from Gustavus last night on a test flight of one of my new planes that I'm going to debut in a weekly flight sim series that I'm going to do. A top secret airplane. I can't tell you what it is, but it's a heck of a lot of fun. So today it's just back to me and good old 2 Echo Foxtrot.
Alpha Yankee Alpha, traffic Cessna November 81304, taking off runway 11 departure.
What a beaut. Alright, so we got 290 on the CHT, so I'm going to go ahead and close cowl flaps. Plenty of room before the cylinders fry. So how have you been, Ace? Did you have a good New Year? Haven't seen you in a while. Trying to adjust to retirement. Well, good for you, my friend. I hope the adjustment has been smooth so far. I'll go to a little bit more of a viewer-friendly GoPro angle here. Could have picked better years to retire, yeah. Yeah. Indeed. Yeah. Yeah, this has been a rough one. It's been a rough one. You're not alone, my friend.
Alpha Yankee Alpha, traffic Cessna November 70120, taking off runway 11, straight out departure.
Awesome. Thanks, Ace. That's all I could ask for. Nothing like the steady drone of a turbo normalized Continental IO 520. It's very meditative. Yeah, so I think kind of the next phase that I'm going to get into with my stream here is, is having like a weekly schedule, like set days where I do music, set days where I do flight simming, and then set days where I do other games, and then maybe like a day where I'm just
Alpha, traffic, Cessna, November 80248, taking off, runway 11, east departure.
a day where I just do random things. Yeah, it was kind of sad. Speaking of things to be sad of, but now that Flight Sim 2020 has come out, people are really starting to jump ship with Flight Sim 2004, which is what I use. One of the greatest developers of scenery, FS Add-on. They just as of the beginning of the year, they closed up shop after being open forever and creating some of the absolute best add-ons for Flight Sim 2004 ever. So can't even get a hold of some of those things anymore. So I got on their website just before they closed and bought their add-on for Tongass Fjords, which is actually kind of a continuation of this Glacier Bay scenery that I'm using. The Glacier Bay scenery that I'm using it was actually kind of co-developed with FS Add-on, made by a guy called Holger Sandman and his team. And it's one of the best, most highly detailed sceneries for FS 2004, and it was freeware. I'm talking about the Glacier Bay scenery, but kind of what they did as a companion project to that was one called Tongass Fjords, which is the amazing landscape that's just kind of southeast of Glacier Bay, and I've been eyeing that scenery for years. That one was payware. So they were kind of having like a liquidation, going out of business sale. So I finally pulled the trigger and got that. Don't know if you saw some of the videos that I did earlier this week where I was flying around Sitka, Alaska. That features the Tongass Fjords scenery, and it's quite amazing. It's so detailed that I had to kind of reconfigure some of my graphic settings because it was slowing down running OBS along with it, which is kind of sad, the way that Flight Sim 2004 works. It's like, I understand why they're starting to discontinue support of it, because it is an older program and it was written on a 32-bit system, and it's not able to take advantage of 64-bit systems, modern systems like we have today. So I can't take advantage of the fact that I have a very fast multi-core processor, because what video card am I using? I'm using GTX 960. But the thing about FS 2004 is it's much more CPU heavy. So my GPU has no problem running this, but my CPU, this will only recognize one core of it. So I can only use 1/4 of my processor's power to run this. So if I'm just, flying around on my own, not streaming, no problem. My frame rates are awesome no matter where I am, what I'm doing. It's all nice and smooth. But OBS, for whatever reason, it is a massive frame rate hog on my computer. And so it's ironic. Basically, the oldest bit of software that I stream runs the worst. And it's one of my favorite things to do. My CPU, that one I don't I don't have right off the top of my head, but it tops out at 4.2 gigahertz. So that means that my flight sim is only running on like 1 gigahertz, which is really sad when it's a fairly complex 3D program. So I have to dumb the graphics down quite a bit in order to get decent frame rates. Like right now I'm running at solid 24 frames per second, which I deem to be acceptable because that's cinematic frame rate. I don't know what I would do if I couldn't get 24 frames out of this. But again, if I'm not running OBS, this runs at 60 frames plus all day long. So, but you know what? I'm not complaining. At 24 frames, it still looks okay. It still looks okay. It still gets the message across. I'll be doing a PC build soon and want to get an idea what to buy. Again, ironically, the newer flight sims would run better on my system than FS 2004 because they can, use my entire processor. So, again, I'll never complain about FS 2004. It's my favorite, and I will use it until it absolutely will not run on anything anymore. Again, I still think it's the best for that actual flying an airplane feel. But the new Microsoft Flight Simulator does look awesome. I don't think you need a super high-end rig to run it. But let's see, do you need to use compatibility mode? Yeah, I use compatibility mode for Windows 7. But I am not one of those people that's had a lot of problem getting older software to run on Windows 10. I know Windows 10 gets a lot of hate for not having a lot of backwards compatibility, but I've never had a problem rigging something so that it'll work just fine on Windows 10. Like, this is technically not supposed to run on Windows 10, and I've been on tons of forums where people are just banging their heads on their desks, just absolutely in tears that they can't use their flight sim anymore. But, I never had an issue. And I'm a big fan of Windows 10. Now, if it had wrecked my flight sim, I might not feel that way about it, but it didn't, so let's go back to the more cinematic view. Okay, there we go. I was frozen for a second. But yeah, if you're going to run the new Microsoft Flight Sim, which I think you're going to have a blast with, because it looks incredible, I would say any decent gaming PC is going to run it just fine. Yeah, I wouldn't use my system as... Oh, and I should also mention that I use a Dell gaming laptop. It's not their Alienware level, but it's the level right below that. So yeah, I'll be interested and excited to see your flight sim streams. Seems to be working. What seems to be working fine on your end? Did I already forget what I said? Probably. My stream? Okay, good. Because it froze for me for a second. how does the balance of the my voice coming over the radio to engine ratio, how does that seem? Because I was just doing working on a new airplane, and I was doing some very heavy sound editing, so I had to tweak some of my sound settings. It sounds okay in my ears, but it's always the concern. It's a good balance. Yeah, good. Yeah, I think it sounds good. And then I run, only when I'm doing my flight sim, I run my microphone through my studio software that I use for recording. And I've got it all tweaked to make it sound like an aviation headset, so that's why my voice sounds the way it does. And I just run my studio software in the background while I'm flight simming, so I get that nice headset sound. It's very immersive. Yeah, I don't normally do that when I'm streaming other things, but again, it's all about immersion. I take my flight simming very seriously. It is so relaxing to just take off and just point yourself in some direction and just go that way. No particular destination in mind, even though, I know that we're heading back towards Gustavus ultimately, but it's nice to just not be following any prescribed flight plan and just listen to the engine. Yeah, I'm really excited because I'm going to get a new headset, which is actually based on an aviation headset like Sigtronics or David Clark. That should be arriving tomorrow, so that'll be nice. Because right now I'm using kind of like a rigged up system running through my audio interface. With a pair of headphones and a Shure SM58 on a boom right in front of my face, so I can't really move around. I have to sit with my face right in front of the mic in order to get this effect. So it'll be nice to have a nice headset again that actually feels like an aviation headset that I can have a little bit more freedom with. And that will add to the immersion as well. I'm going to head over here.
Alpha Delta Yankee Alpha traffic, Cessna November 21216 is clear of the runway. Alpha Delta Yankee Alpha traffic, Alaska 61, taking off runway 11, departure to Whiskey.
But yeah, I would say that setting up a new PC and getting a fancy new flight sim, that is a good. Those are good retirement goals. That's a good way to use your time. I completely 100% approve. We're making over the ground here, 116 knots. Let's go ahead and fly up. We're going to fly up the Alsek River here. I think that'll be fun. Get right up against these mountains here. Is that the one that has us into Lituya Bay? Almost. Yeah, look where I'm going here real quick. No, that's not going to head us into Lituya Bay, but should we... Okay, that will be out. If we head over that hump right there, that'll take us into Lituya Bay. Or we can just follow the river all the way up this way. Let's do that, you know? Let's let's just do that. Let's have an actual bush adventure. I need another sip of coffee. Yeah, I've even got the mic set up on a noise gate like an actual aviation headset, so the mic only activates when I talk. Tricky. And then I put a little bit of white noise behind the gate so that when I talk, you hear that little bit of crackle in the background behind my voice. So again, just, fun stuff. Alright, so we're going to head over this way now. There's a little bush strip right in front of us. I don't know if you can see it there. Like, right there. That's like a little U.S. Forestry Service strip. Cut out of the trees. Just a little dirt and grass down there. Yeah, I'm really digging this. I'm excited to see. I've never gone up this way before. Yeah, so I don't know. I've been on FlightSim.com, which is where I do most of my collection of freeware. I'm actually, if I when I go onto FlightSim.com, a thing pops up that tells me that I'm one of the top downloaders of all time. I've had my my FlightSim.com account with the same username and password since 1996. I've downloaded thousands and thousands of things from them. And I love that. FlightSim.com is awesome because, I mean, that's like where the real community is. That's where everyone shares all of their tweaks and all the textures that they make and stuff like that. And generally, it's all for free. There is a lot of amazing quality freeware that has been produced for this. So the point I was making was I do see that they now have a new section for the new Microsoft Flight Simulator. So I'm hoping that means that they're going to have good add-on support for it. It would really be a shame if that part of the community was taken away. But yeah, I don't know. We'll just have to see. And I'm also interested to see what the file structure is going to be like for Flight Sim 2020. Because of course I'm very much into modding and tweaking everything. So I'll be interested to see if that's still a fairly readily accessible feature. The river's all frozen over down there, you can see. And this is a lake here. which is also frozen over, it looks like. Let me fix something really quick. That frozen lake has got weird, glitchy grid lines. Oh, maybe that's just in the distance. As I'm getting closer, it kind of looks like they're disappearing. I was going to say, I think I know why it's doing that. Nah, they're still there. Hold on, let me tweak my graphics really quick. I know that you can't see what I'm doing right now, because for some reason it doesn't pick this up. Let's try land only. Nope. That didn't fix it. Settings, display, water effects high. Nope. Standby, display, effects low, land only. What about none? No. Guess we're gonna have to live with them. That's okay. Land and water effects. Okay. It's alright. It doesn't detract too much. Do my GPS really quick. Okay, so we're going to hang a left right here, and then go around the mountains. So we're going to head down that way. Ooh, yeah. We're going to get into some... This could be very interesting really quickly, because the cloud cover is really low. So if it, I don't know, if it gets too hairy, I'll turn around. And that's one of the great things about having the turbo normalized engine on this plane, is it will give me a lot of power really fast, so I can climb us out of just about any bad situation that we might get into. I would not do this with virtually any other plane. Dinner bell. Stop back a bit. Alright. Well, take care, Ace. Have a good dinner. We'll see you later. And you tell Patty I said hi. The weather is, the wind is, making me a little nervous. Okay, I gotta figure out how to get rid of these lines. Display. Okay, so let's turn both of these off. Terrain detail and water effects, both off. Oh, well that took care of it. needed to be off. Is that possible? Display. Let's go terrain detail, land and water. Yeah, it was just the water effect. Okay, well I fixed it. I don't know exactly what that's going to mean for non-frozen water, but whatever. Check the integrity of my stream here really quick. Okay, everything looks okay. My stream is integral. Okay, we're going to hang a right around here. Yeah, okay, whoa. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Whoa, whoa. Yeah, we're getting into some wind shear here, that's for sure. And again, if it gets too bad, it's easy to just you know, turn around or climb over it, over and out. Whoa. Beautiful mountains. It refuses to turn off the news. Yeah, I had to, that's kind of what I'm flying away from right now. I just did another quick check to see if any semblance of sanity has been restored yet. Anyway, I'm here to fly away from my problems. Yeah, it's been a rough 4 years. Alright. So I think we're in a situation here where I'm basically committed to this route. unless I want to climb out over the mountains. If I want to stay low and slow, Looks like the river winds up this canyon here between the mountains. It'll be interesting to see where it takes us. But what's awesome is being in the 185 and my big ol' 29-inch Goodyear Tundra tires is I can put us down basically literally anywhere. That's the fun of these planes. This is beautiful. I love it up here so much. Year-round, it's beautiful. Okay, this is tight. That's the only problem with the Cessnas. That's my one complaint, is having to stop your turn to raise your wing to look at what's out. And it's not even a complaint. I love Cessnas. I flew a lot of Cessnas back in the day. My favorites were well, am I really gonna say my favorite? I mean, not really my favorite, but I really did enjoy flying my Piper Cherokee, which is what I did most of my my actual logged flight time in. And then one of my pals at the airport that I worked at was a demo pilot for Diamond Aircraft, and I got to fly the Diamond Eclipse and the Diamond Star when they were both brand new airplanes. They're kind of old news now. Still awesome airplanes, but I got to fly them when they were cutting edge. But I love Cessnas, of course. And for bush flying, you can't really get much better than a high-powered, high-winged aircraft. You don't want to do a bunch of bush landings in a low-winged airplane. Too much potential for damage. Look where we're going now. Yeah, so this is opened quite a bit. So I'm going to look at this when we get up here. I'm going to take a look out the right side. We're going to see how high this channel is here, this glacier. I'm assuming that's a glacier right there. We're going to look and see if that's something that I can fly over without having to climb too much. And so we'll get out that way if that's the case. If not, we'll just keep flying up this canyon here and see what's up here. It's fun to explore. I've never been up this way before. There's so much freedom in the sky. I love it. Now we've gotten further away from Yakutat. The radio chatter has stopped, so it's just you and the plane in the wilderness. And my bag of beef jerky I brought for the flight. Pardon me while I partake of said beef jerky. Pilot food. Which I'm enjoying the heck out of, because I was a vegetarian for 14 years up until about 3 months ago. So I'm making up for lost time now. Like, I just have a bag of beef jerky with me on this flight. It's likely I will just eat this bag of beef jerky. Oh, that's good. Okay, so let's see what we got going on up here. From vegetarian to beef jerky? No. It took me about 2 months of just having a little bit of chicken broth every day until it didn't make me sick anymore. And then I actually started with fish. Because I was fairly certain, because I eat a lot of like, I always have eaten a lot of like Chinese and Vietnamese, Japanese food. So I know, even as careful as I was over all those years, that I was probably getting fish oil and stuff like that. It's kind of hard to avoid. So I knew that I would probably be okay. I probably still had the enzymes in my gut to deal with fish. And so that was fine. And then I tried a little bit of chicken, and that was okay. And I figured it would be because I'd been eating chicken broth for a couple of months. And then I tried some beef, and that made me seriously ill for a day. So I had to kind of work my way up to beef a little bit more slowly. But I'm totally fine now. My gut's completely readjusted to everything, and it's like a whole new world. Davina making the same choice? No, she was always a meat eater. That was never a point of contention between us. I had my own reasons for doing it, and she was very respectful of that. Her whole family was, so that was never an issue between us. But where I really started thinking that I was going to need to transition back was about 3 years ago. Her brother lives in Japan, and we went over there for his wedding. And it was amazing. They were wonderful, wonderful hosts. We were there for 10 days, and they had everything, reservations for restaurants and everything made ahead of time for us, specifically because they knew that it's actually hard to be a vegetarian in Japan, because, there's at least fish in just about everything. So they were extremely gracious, and I was so humbled and moved by that gesture. We're going to be able to go up this way, by the way. Looks like we're fine, so I'm going to come up here and see what's what. Anyway, and the food that I had was amazing. I mean, some of the most amazing food that I've ever had in my entire life. It was all this wonderful stuff that the chefs at these restaurants had made especially for me. And again, as something that I will never forget. And the food was out of this world good. But I saw what everybody else was eating, and it looked really good too. So that's when I kind of started feeling. I've always felt the urges. I always missed eating meat. I always did from day one. But it was always kind of an urge that I suppressed. But when we went to Japan, again, that was 3 years ago. That's when I first started seriously thinking, I'm probably going to need to make the transition back. I think that I've made the point that I needed to make to myself. I did what I needed to do for myself, and the statement that I made in my life. And it's time to move on. It's time to move to a different phase of my existence, and I knew that I wanted to not have any restrictions on what I ate. So yeah, it took me 3 years to finally get up the guts to do it. Let's see, same thing happened to my daughter. She's yeah, you're studying in Italy. Yeah, that would do it. I'm sure that would do it. So I'm looking forward. I'm looking forward to all the food that I've been missing all this time. Again, I have no regrets. It was a good thing for me to do on a lot of levels, and it's given me a bit of perspective, I think. Okay, so I know I said originally that we were just going to come down this way and it looked like it was going to be okay, but I see that glacier is sloping upwards, like right into the clouds. I could climb over that pretty easily. So, you know, it's either that or head back down the valley that way. What the heck? I'm just going to go ahead and climb us out of here. Still got to fly the airplane and talk at the same time. Go ahead and we don't need to do a super duper climb right now. So I'm just gonna set 2,500 manifold pressure and RPM, and just gonna do kind of a slow 500 foot per minute climb here. But anyway, yeah, I have no regrets, and I really appreciate the perspective that it gave me, but that's not me anymore. So, you know, that's one thing that I love about being a human, is that we get to decide, you know, who we are and what we stand for, and yeah. So I'm assuming that she feels similarly, that she doesn't regret her transition back from veganism, which I tried the vegan thing for about 2 weeks when I first became a vegetarian, and it was not a pleasant experience. So I always ate eggs, always ate dairy. That was never something that I cut out. But my motto was, I'll eat it as long as nothing died to make it. So, you know, even though I knew the vegan to shellfish, fish to chicken, drew the line at beef and pork. So she's not back to beef and pork either. I am. I'm fully back. No restrictions. But that's totally fine. I completely respect whatever anybody wants to put in their body is their own business. Alright, so passing through 2,500 feet, I think 3,500 feet should get us out of the danger zone. Not that we're in danger, I mean, we're still clearing the ground by, I'm going to say that's at least 1,000 feet. Self-determinism has some benefits, it does. Indeed. Alright, so I'll level us off again at, okay, so I think I was seeing more of a cloud than a slope up of the glacier, because that actually looks relatively flat. So I'm still going to go up to 3,500 feet and level us off. Even though it seems to be a little more turbulent up here. I say up here like we're really high or something. We're not. Raise the wing. Raise the wing. Alright, there's 3,500 feet. little bit of advantage of the wind up here. Set about 75% power. Yeah, there we go. So this is going to empty us into one of the arms. Tonight I was listening to Abbey Road and I kept going back to McCartney's bass and something. Oh yeah. Yeah, McCartney is my second hero of the bass, because I love bass. I absolutely love it. It's my favorite thing to play. I would play bass more than I play guitar if it weren't for the fact that it's a little bit harder to convey the full emotion of a song just on bass. But I don't know, as you've seen in those music videos of mine, you know, I sing and play bass. I love doing that. But let's see, I found just the bass track on YouTube. Do you know if you can find all the other tracks as well? I think so, because what's happening is most of the people that are doing that are finding all of this just single track stuff, is when they came out with the Beatles Rock Band, you know, the game Rock Band, they came out with a Beatles expansion for that, and that had, you know, actual track-on-track versions of a lot of those songs taken from the old, from the original masters. So a lot of people basically cracked those files open and started just uploading just the single tracks, which is awesome. You know, for anybody that's a fan of that music, you know, whether you're a musician or not, it's awesome to be able to listen to those songs just piece by piece like that. So I'm sure that the other tracks are on there. I actually saw a video once with Danny Harrison, who is George Harrison's son. This is just before George Martin passed away. There's a video on YouTube of them in the studio, and they unpacked the old master of something, and they sold. I'm going to dip under this cloud right here. Woohoo! And they were able to solo those tracks out. So the soloing a track means just listening to like just the one track. But they found a hidden guitar solo in there that that didn't go on the original recording. It was really awesome. It was really awesome to hear that. Mix your own song. Yeah, or you could remix it, or whatever you want to do. We're gonna have some fun here. I'm gonna scud run because this cloud layer is pretty low, and the ground is kind of coming up to meet us. So I'm gonna scud run over the snow here. Get us down about 1,500 feet off the deck. Pushing 170 miles an hour right now. Indicated, of course, so we're actually going faster than that. But yeah, I love multi-track recording. That's what I do, of course, since I don't have a band anymore. I am my own band, so I do, you know, track-on-track, multi-track recording. So I can solo out any one of those pieces that I've played and listen to just that And yeah, you can rearrange them and you can make them louder or quieter, or just apply equalization and reverb effects just to that one track. Multi-track recording is one of the best inventions ever. But yeah, so I was talking about McCartney is my second favorite bassist, but my favorite bassist of all time is James Jamerson. He was the bassist for Motown. That guy invented electric bass playing. He started out just playing upright bass, which he was a monster on that too. But someone handed him a Fender Precision bass in 1958, kind of as a joke, because it was kind of a joke, especially to the jazz guys. They're like, "What is this electric bass thing? That's not real bass." But James got a hold of that thing, and he really saw the potential for it. And the entire advent of electric bass basically came from him and the legitimacy that he gave that. McCartney was greatly inspired by Jamerson, even though he didn't know that at the time, because back then the session musicians did not get credit. They were just session musicians. And not a lot of people know that at Motown, from 1958 to 1972, that was all the same band. Doesn't matter whose name was on it. Marvin Gaye, Stevie Wonder, the Supremes, Martha and the Vandellas, so on and so forth, Four Tops, the Temptations, all those guys. Those are all amazing artists, but they were singers. The band was the same on all of those songs. It was a band called the Funk Brothers, and they, again, not many people know this, but they are the best-selling band in history several times over. I mean, they have more number one hits under their belt than the Beatles, the Stones, the Beach Boys, Elvis Presley, all combined. They were about the hottest band that ever lived, and they're kind of the heart and soul of the Funk Brothers was James Jamerson, and what he could do to that bass. That was the first. He made bass into a lead instrument, and it started being that the songwriters that worked at Motown, they would write songs knowing good and well that a big part of the melody of that song was going to come from whatever bass line James put on it. And that changed the way that they recorded and mixed music as well. It's like they wanted to get that sound, so much of that bass, that they had to change the way that they recorded things, the way that they mixed things, so that they could make the bass more prominent. Because at the time, unless you had like a really good hi-fi system, you couldn't really hear the bass. It just didn't come through very well. So they had to experiment with all kinds of different techniques for how to make that bass more prominent. So again, the sound that we think of when we think about, the way, back in a few. Yeah, good deal. See you in a few. But anyway, to anyone else that might be listening, James Jamerson, the heart and soul of Motown, my favorite musician of all time. Check it out. Now we're down in some arm of Glacier Bay. Okay, I need to... And we're just about 800 feet off the water. my stream again. Seems to be good. Man, I've only been streaming for an hour and a quarter? Really? Seems like it's been longer than that. Another piece of beef jerky. This is a big one. God, that's good. Lovely beef jerky. Okay, let's go ahead and stop course for Gustavus. Good old Gustavus. 23 minutes. Uh, 124 knots over the ground. That's not bad. Means we got a little headwind. Talk about Jamerson and the Funk Brothers. I'm gonna look them up. Any suggestions? Well, sorry, I'm chewing beef jerky again. Oh boy. Well, they didn't really do any recording on their own because they were under strict contract with Motown that they couldn't record on their own. They couldn't record with anyone else. But they did. There is an incredible track that they did, easy to find on YouTube. It's called Fever in the Funk House. And that whole concept of funk pretty much came from the Funk Brothers. And with Jamerson is where, you know, like funk bass started coming from. But he didn't slap or anything like that. He played the Fender Precision bass. He played it like an upright bass. And because I kind of took my cues from him, that's how I ended up playing too. A lot of the bass players use multiple fingers and they'll do snaps and pops and stuff like that. But Jamerson played some of the most complex bass lines ever written with one finger. His right index finger. They nicknamed it the hook. So I play the same way because I really started learning to play the bass by learning Jamerson's Motown lines. But any Motown song between 1958 and 1972 pretty much is the Funk Brothers. Again, the singers were the only thing that changed. I mean, name a Motown song from that golden era, and that's the Funk Brothers. Let's see, if you really want to listen to specifically Jamerson at work, listen to Bernadette by the Four Tops. You can actually find an isolated bass track for that on YouTube. It's widely regarded as one of, if not the greatest bass line of all time. And yeah, if you take a Motown song and you on your mixer or whatever your stereo that you're listening to it on, if you can turn the bass all the way off, just see how much that changes the way the song feels. They're still great. They're still iconic songs. They're still so well written, but they lose their heartbeat as soon as you take the bass out. It's like that was the heartbeat of Motown, was Jamerson's bass. Anyway, I also highly suggest there's a movie that they made in 2004. You can find it on Amazon. It's called Standing in the Shadows of Motown, and it was based on a book that was written about James Jamerson, but they expanded it to tell. This movie tells the story of the Funk Brothers themselves. And it was fantastic. They rounded up all the rest of the surviving Funk Brothers, and they played their iconic Motown tunes again. And it was awesome listening to those guys that hadn't played those songs together in like 40 years at that point make that magic again. And it's like, this isn't just some cover band playing these songs. This is them. That's really oh man, it's raining now. Raining and it's choppy. The air is choppy. That's okay. Just a little bit of rain. But anyway, yeah, it's called Standing in the Shadows of Motown. Very easy to find on Amazon. And they had a bunch of like modern, like current celebrity singers at that point come and sing the songs. But again, it's like, that was 16 years ago at this point. It's time flies. But I still own that movie, and I watch it probably at least once a year, just to remind me like where music came from with those guys. But yeah, it was a sad and tragic story, because most of the Funk Brothers died penniless because they were session musicians, and back then they did not get paid royalties. It's like they just went to work and got paid an hourly wage, and they hardly got any credit at all. The first time that any one of those guys ever got any credit was on Marvin Gaye's What's Going On album, where he actually, he gave credit to everybody that played on that album, and one of those credits says, and on bass, the incomparable James Jamerson. Like, Motown at that point, they were kind of shifting from Detroit to LA. Sorry, I know that I am just talking. I can talk about this stuff for hours and hours and never shut up about it. But so anyway, Motown was in the process of leaving Detroit and moving to LA, and a lot of the Funk Brothers couldn't. It's like they weren't willing to relocate. Their families were all in Detroit, and their lives were there in Detroit. Motown was Detroit. It's like Motown started deciding that they wanted to branch out in some other directions entertainment-wise, like they wanted to start getting into TV and movies and stuff like that. So, I mean, from a business standpoint, yeah, I can kind of see that. LA is definitely the hub for that. But the Funk Brothers were, they were, Detroit was their place. Detroit was their home. So James ended up staying behind for a while, even though some of the other guys had moved on, and Motown wasn't really recording in Detroit anymore. So a lot of the Funk Brothers, it wasn't the same anymore at that point. It wasn't all the same guys playing together anymore. But when Marvin Gaye specifically was recording the song What's Going On, he said, there's nobody that can play this except James. There's nobody that can play it except James. And nobody knew where he was. It's like he wasn't even on the roster anymore. So they found him in some bar one night, and they drug him down to the studio, and he was he had developed pretty advanced alcoholism at that point. So it's like, this is kind of a funny story, but it's actually sad and ultimately what leads to his death. But he was completely almost incoherent, but they needed to cut the song that night. So legend has it that James could not even stand up, and he laid on the floor with his eyes closed and listened to the song a couple of times, and ended up recording one of the most beautiful bass lines ever that still very few people can play note for note. So it's like he was that important to that sound that they had to have it. When the Supremes moved to LA, they were working on a song for a movie called The Happening, and it is the absolute most, it's such a poppy, happy tune, but it does not have, it's kind of a show tune. It doesn't really have that Motown flavor to it. So what they did was they cut everything but the bass, and they sent the tracks back to Detroit and said, James, lay a bass line on this and send it back to us. So he did, and it is killer. That song without the bass line is, again, it's cute. It's a cute song. It's catchy, it is. It's like an earworm. But if you, with that bass line on it, it just gives it this little bit of just snarl that they wouldn't have gotten any other way. It's another one of those songs where if you divorce the bass line from it, it's a completely different song. But yeah, and that song is called The Happening. I'm just trying to think of like Motown songs that have like real interesting trivia to point you towards. But anyway, so I digress. Like I said, I can talk about this stuff for literally hours, and I have on many occasions. Basically to whoever will listen. Alright, so we're almost back to Gustavus. We're just kind of crossing the open water, just at 1,000 feet right now. We made it through our little canyon adventure. We're 11 nautical miles out. I think I want to practice a few touch and goes when we get there, so I'm gonna I haven't been flying to Echo Foxtrot a lot lately, admittedly. I've been working on my new planes that I'm gonna unveil soon, which I think are gonna knock everyone's socks off. But so let me go ahead and see, it froze on my end again. Okay, now we're going again. So let me go ahead and here's the airport list. Let's talk to Gustavus. Let's listen to the weather real quick.
Alpha, Golf, Sierra, automated weather observation, 2050, Zulu, wind, 122 at Niner, visibility greater than 20 miles, in light rain, sky conditions, teal clouds at 2,000, ceiling 2,500, broken, temperature 5 Celsius, dew point 3 Celsius, altimeter 2953, Papa Alpha, Golf,
2953. God, I can't get a hold of the knob. It's bouncing around so much. Okay, there we are. This plane is so stable. It's not on autopilot right now, and I was just looking somewhere else for like a minute, and the plane's exactly where I left it. Okay, so we're gonna come in. We're gonna use runway 11, which I hate runway 11 because there's a jerk tree at the end of the runway. Okay, select runway for landing. Runway 11. How far out are we? 20 nautical miles. Gustavus traffic, Cessna 2 Echo Foxtrot is 20 nautical miles out, inbound for closed traffic, runway 11. So anyway, yeah, so what I was saying is I'm going to do some touch and goes for just a little bit to kind of get back in the swing of landing this plane. Trying to tap on the touch screen there, and I'm bumping around so much. All right. All right, so I've got my course indicator. That's the green line and arrow there. I've got that lined up with the runway heading, so it makes it a nice visual indicator for flying the pattern. Music and airplanes, those are my things. It's nice to be able to combine them. Just a passenger enjoying the ride, good deal. Pop you over into the co-pilot seat. This is your view. Alright, let me get back in my seat. Actually, let's fly from this angle for a little bit. That's pretty easy to do. It's a little more interesting from an observer's point of view. So approaching from this direction, we're just going to be able to basically fly straight in for our first touch. Actually, let me, while I'm thinking about it, now that I've got more of a plan for what's going on, let me go ahead and set up my bearing pointer. Edit, we're going to set that to GPS. I love this tool. This electronic HSI is amazing. And again, this is a real piece of equipment. This is brand new from Garmin. It's called the GI275, and this is the nav version. Down here is the engine information version. They're the same thing, they just have different software in them. And again, thank God for the amazing people at FlightSim.com, just the community, is there are people out there that are like, oh, there's new doodads out in the real world, so we need to build a sim version of it. And it works just like the real thing. You can actually use the, okay, someone else is inbound to 11. We'll see who gets there first. 10 nautical miles, okay. Gustavus traffic, Cessna 2 Echo Foxtrot is 9 nautical miles out for close traffic, runway 11. But anyway, yeah, you can use the actual, user's manuals off the Garmin website for these. They're done with that much care. So what I did with that course marker was I set it to always track my GPS waypoint. So that little blue arrow behind the green one, that will, no matter what, it will always point at Gustavus, because that's what I've got set as my direct to waypoint in the GPS. So I always have a visual reference of where the airport is in relation to me. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and start slowing us down for the pattern. Trim up because we're losing power. I'm going to go 15 inches of manifold pressure. And we're going to go ahead and set the prop to 2,700 RPM. We'll go ahead and keep trimming us up, and the airspeed will start dropping now. Okay, and since we're slowing down, we're not getting as much cooling air over the cylinders. So I'm going to go ahead and open the cowl flaps, which is this lever right here. I'm going to go full open on that, keep us from frying the cylinders. We'll be able to see the CHTs already dropping right there. Cylinder head temperature, 356, 355, so temperature's dropping. Okay, I'm going to pull the power out just a little bit more to slow us down. We want to get 110 miles an hour, and then I can put out the first notch of flaps. Alright, 2 Echo Foxtrot, let's do this. We're going to do a wheel landing. It's been a while, bud. We can do this. Sit up so I can see over the nose a little bit. Okay, there's 110, so I'm going to go flaps 10. Start bleeding off a little more airspeed. I'm going to pull the power out even more. I want to start a gentle descent toward the runway. There's 100 miles an hour, I'm going to go flaps 20. Pull out a little more power, because we're benefiting from the extra lift from the flaps, but we need those to slow down, so we have to pull the power back as we put the flaps out. Okay, 90 miles an hour, there's flaps 30. Okay, let's go ahead and gumps. Okay, electronic fuel pump is on. Undercarriage. Mouth flaps are open, tail wheel is unlocked. Mixture is full rich. Prop is set.
Alpha Delta Golf Sierra traffic, Cessna Charlie Golf Foxtrot Juliet Foxtrot.
Okay, I'm gonna pull the power out just a little bit more, and we want to get 80 miles an hour. Keep us nice and controlled, and then we'll kind of wiggle our way down to about 70 miles an hour and do a wheel landing. If we wanted to do a 3-point, we'd go 65 or 60 miles an hour, depending on weight. We're pretty light right now, so we could totally go to 60 miles an hour and be safe. Okay, a little more power out. We get about 10 and a half inches. Okay. It's good, everything's good. And there's that jerk tree, you know which one I'm talking about. Always gets me. Okay, I'm gonna put a little bit more power in. Okay, there's 70 miles an hour. I'm getting a little too slow. More power. Come on. 15 inches. Okay. Stabilize. Alright, so I need to fly a more steep approach next time around. I'm used to coming in runway 29 where you can fly a much flatter approach because the trees aren't as close. But that jerk tree right there, that thing right there is why I hate the 1-1 approach. Okay, we're clear. I'm gonna go ahead and pull the power out, and we'll try to pretend that this is a regular approach. Gustavus traffic, Cessna 2 Echo Foxtrot is on short final, close traffic 1-1. I'm way too high, but it's okay. Okay, so we're going to do a wheel landing. Pull the power out just a little bit more, and we're just going to touch, and then we're going to go full throttle and get out of here. There we go. Full throttle, and we're back up. Okay. Once we've cleared 80 miles an hour, I'm going to go ahead and start bringing the flaps back up. Yeah, this is a pretty extreme climb profile right now. I mean, we're just basically going up like an elevator because there's so much lift from those flaps. Okay, I'm going to start pulling them up now. I'll level us off at 1,000 feet, and then we'll go ahead and turn crosswind. We're going to fly right traffic. Okay, I don't need to go any faster than that, so let's go ahead and pull the power out and level off at 1,000 feet. 100 miles an hour, and we'll accelerate to about 110, and then we'll just keep the power there. Okay, and I don't need to keep re-gumpsing because I've already gumpsed. Alright, there's 1,000 feet, so let's go ahead and turn crosswind. Gustavus traffic, Cessna 2 Echo Foxtrot is turning crosswind. Close traffic, runway 11. Very nice, very stable. I'm just flying with one hand right now.
Alpha Delta Golf Sierra traffic, Cessna Charlie Golf Foxtrot Juliet Foxtrot is 1 miles northwest inbound, visual runway 11.
Very pleasant aircraft. Alright, let's go ahead. Make sure we're for 110 miles an hour. Perfect. This is a good setup. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and turn downwind now. Gustavus traffic, Cessna 2 Echo Foxtrot is downwind. Close traffic runway 11. We're going to do another wheel landing. Someone rolling down there, or did they just, Alright, this is going to be a full stop landing, actually. We're going to go Skype with our niece and nephew. We try to Skype with them about, at least twice a week. We used to see them all the time, but of course, that's not been possible this past year, so. Alright, and I am definitely going to fly I'm going to fly another, yeah, same deal with your kids now. Yeah, it's a sad thing, but we do what we have to do.
Alpha Golf, Sierra traffic, Cessna Charlie Golf, Foxtrot, Juliet Foxtrot is clear of the runway.
Brazil? Does that mean that you're from Brazil? Is that what you're indicating to us? Because that's exciting. Please, Rio de Janeiro to Sao Paulo. I have done that flight before, actually. That is a good flight. I've done lots of flying all over the world. We're in Glacier Bay, Alaska right now. I'm about to land at Gustavus Airport. This is where I like to do my bush flying. But I do a lot of airline simulation too, and every now and then it does take me to South America. But I've also done light aircraft operations in South America as well. Actually, before I really started streaming, I had just finished a trip. I flew all the way from Port Angeles, Washington, down to the tip of Tierra del Fuego in Beach Barren, and then we flew back. Took about a week. Por favor, well, thank you for asking so nicely. I think that's definitely something that we can work into the stream at some point. Right now I'm focusing on my bush flying up in Alaska, but, please, bro. Well, I'm about to land anyway. I've got to go talk to my niece and nephew, but follow me. Follow me here on Twitch, and then you'll be able to see, you know, when I do make that flight to Brazil. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and turn us base. I should have turned base a long time ago, but I want to fly a really steep approach. Gustavus traffic, Cessna 2 Echo Foxtrot is turning base, runway 11 full stop. Alright, let's see. Okay, I'm just going to go ahead and turn final now. Gustavus traffic, Cessna 2 Echo Foxtrot is on final, runway 11 full stop. Yeah, but I like doing all kinds of flying. This is not the only kind of flying that I do. I fly a little bit of everything. One of my other big passions is airline operations, of course. So those will be interesting streams, I think. I'm excited to have people come with me on some heavy iron operations. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and slow us down to about 100 miles an hour, so we'll go down to 13 inches of manifold pressure. So I'm going to slow down. The GPS needle is pretty nice. Yeah, it's really cool. It's a nice little, just a nice little visual aid, so you don't have to constantly be popping down and looking at the actual moving map. It's nice to have it just right in front of your face. Okay, so I'm going to trim us for 100 and we're going to go flaps 10. Flaps 10. So I'm going to get us flying slower, slower sooner, and then trim us for like, trim us for landing speed before I actually start descending to the runway. And that'll allow me to keep, I think I'll be able to fly a steeper approach that way. Okie doke, let's go flaps 20. There it is. Flaps 30. Okay, and then I'm going to trim us for 70 miles an hour, so that's going to need a little bit more power. Alright, there's 75 miles an hour, and then I think I'm going to go ahead and go ahead and give us flaps 40. Okay. Alright, so now we are in classic Cessna 185 short field landing mode. So we are trimmed with the stabilizer trimmed almost all the way up. If we look outside the plane, you can see how far up the stabilizer is deflected. And the flaps are all the way down. So we have a massive amount of lift, and we have excellent elevator authority because the whole stabilizer moves with the trim instead of just trim tabs. I'm going to start a very, very slow descent now, about 200 feet per minute at first. And then we're just visualizing. We're just visualizing where we're going to touch down. So you want it to be within the first third of the runway, but there's a couple of white marks down here that we're going to aim for, and that's where we want our wheels to hit. Okay, I can already feel that We're descending a little too fast now. A lot of this is just done by feel. I mean, yeah, you gotta hit certain numbers so that you don't stall and stuff like that. But you know, I know that I'm trimmed for 70 miles an hour, so I'm gonna keep looking at the airspeed indicator to make sure that we're still pegged at 70 or thereabouts right there. But the rest of it I'm just kind of doing by feel. I'm not looking at anything else right now except the runway and the place where I want the wheels to go. And right now we're controlling our vertical speed with the throttle. More power will arrest our descent. Less power will steepen our descent. So I'm just watching and feeling what the airplane is doing, and I'm adjusting the throttle as necessary. And now we're more than high enough that we're going to clear that tree, and you can see what I'm talking about right there, right? Those little white marks, those little white boxes right there, we're going to try to touch right between those. Okay, so I got to pull the power out more because we're still a little bit high. Okay, I'm going to put in a little more power because we're sinking just a little too fast. Gustavus traffic, Cessna 2 Echo Foxtrot is on short final. Full stop, runway 11. Okay, I'm going to start trimming up just a little bit more and pulling a little bit more power, and I want to bleed off just about 5 miles an hour speed. I want to get about 65 miles an hour. There's 65. Okay, and I'm going to pull the power out right now. And there we are. 3-point landing right where we said we were going to land. Let's watch that really quick. Oh, hold on. Instant replay of the last 30 seconds. Let's watch that a couple of times. As long as you stay on the numbers and really learn to feel this airplane, you can put it anywhere you want to. That's what makes it such an excellent plane for bush hops. And there we go. Just before the white boxes. I'm still going to count that. Better you land too short than too far down. 2 Echo Foxtrot, you beautiful beast. Love that little float right there just above the runway. And boom. Yeah, we actually hit tail wheel first. That was not intended, but that's very desirable for a short field landing. One more time and then I'll go put my plane away. I'll put my toy away. Boom. Beautiful. I love this plane. Okay. Back to the real world. Alright, flaps are up. Let's go ahead and... Yeah, I mean, you can land this thing so slow that I didn't even put the brakes on, you know? And it's like, we stopped in just an extraordinarily short amount of space. It's pretty impressive for a 3,500 pound aircraft. You can put it where you want it, kinda. Alright folks, well welcome to Gustavus. Not a lot else going on, except I'm gonna taxi on back to the hangar. Yeah, thanks for stopping by, Ace. It was nice to hang out with you. I think you and I are both kind of feeling the same way today, so I needed it too. I needed to get in the air, and luckily a good friend stopped by to say hi and fly with me. So, yeah, we'll see what the next few weeks bring, my friend. Stay strong, and yeah, we'll see you next time. Thanks, my friend. Take care. All right, and to the rest of you that might be watching that don't know me, my name's Nick Straight. I'm a musician who loves airplanes and video games. I do a little bit of everything here on my Twitch channel. So if you liked what you saw today, go ahead and give me a follow if you would. If you didn't like what you saw today, head on over to my Skype. I've got Skype on the brain. Head over to my Twitch channel and see the other videos I've got up, the other things I do, the music videos I've got up. Play a lot of other video games on here. Maybe you'll find something there that you like that earns me the honor of your follow. And while you're at it, if you don't mind, also follow the link in my Twitch profile to my YouTube channel. Because as we all know, hold on, let me mute my radio really quick. That's really annoying. What was I saying? Oh yeah, because as we all know, Twitch doesn't hold on to videos forever. Which we don't blame them. They got a lot of videos to hold on to, but they are very kind and gracious, and they allow us to hold on to our videos there for 2 weeks. But in the meantime, they allow us to export these videos to our YouTube channels, where they are, I assume, stored for all eternity. YouTube's eternal, right? So if you see a video here on my Twitch channel that you really like, and that 2 weeks goes by, and it's not up on Twitch anymore, never fear. You can just head on over to my my handy dandy YouTube channel, where all of these videos live for all time. Anyway, so thank you guys for joining me. It's been a lovely flight from Yakutat to Gustavus. We had a good time talking about airplanes, talking about music, and kind of trying to fly away from the sadness of the day. It's a gloomy day for a lot of reasons, my friends, and I want you all to know that you are well loved, and when it comes right down to it, we all just hope the best for each other, right? You know, we all just want to be happy, and we all just want everyone else to be happy. So hopefully this is a place where people can come together and find some common ground and just have fun and kind of kick back and be safe from some of the ugly things that are going on out there. So anyway, I love you all dearly. I hope that you are having a safe New Year. Wash your hands, wear your masks. We love you and we want you to be around for a long, long time. So take care of yourselves. Take care of each other, and as I pull into the hangar here, I bid you all a fond farewell and adieu, and I will say, see you next time. Love you lots.